Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spiritual Readiness and the Time of the Shift. I just want to give an energy update. Today in New York City, the energy is off the hook. It feels absolutely incredibly easy. There is such benevolence, kindness, and goodness in the air that it is really palpable. Now, I want to mention this in the context of trying to explain the complex dynamics that exist between us, the awakened, us, the wayshowers, us, the conscious humans, who are here to try to guide the rest of humanity into a more elevated version of themselves. Because if we're waiting for 7 billion people to actually do the hard work that us, the heralds and the guides are doing, we're going to have to wait a very long time. We exist in a planet where fear and lack dominates and has created a thick armor all around the earth, holding a very specific experience where we are all trying to survive. When in fact, in the rest of the universe, what New York City feels like today is actually the default. Now, at moments, we may penetrate into that upper stratosphere and begin to feel the ease. And because of the time of the shift that we're existing in right now, the Galactic Core Masters, the Galactic Elders, or bombarding the planet with a very specific kind of energy called the nameless light. It is an energy of truth, authenticity, and transparency. And that energy right now is particularly at peak performance around New York City at this time. So this incredible sense of joy and jubilance and almost like a homecoming is present right now. Now, sometime in when you're doing special kind of meditation, special kind of inner work, you can reach that stratosphere and begin to feel that ease. But how are we, the guides, the heralds, are we supposed to help ground this on a permanent basis around humanity and around the earth? Now, let's be very clear. The earth itself, all the animals and the plants are fine. They are ascending. They are moving into a higher realm for the simple reason that the animals and the plants and all the entire ecosystem of Gaia are living in their heart space. It is us, because of the fear and the survival code that we have been holding for the past 500 years, this is the reason why we're in dissonance. So for us who are awakened, the first thing that we have to do, because when we incarnate on this world, we begin to lose remembrance of who we really are. We have to now kind of reverse engineer and do a lot of inner work and shadow work to begin to unravel all of the false belief of fear, survival, and lack that has been projected on us. We have to remove our own blind spots. I've spoken about this in other videos. You may want to watch those as well. And as we do this work, as we remove all of these old blind spots, we begin now to allow within us a more permanent and default status to this ease and this flow that I'm feeling all around me right now. And as this now becomes the default, we begin to elevate our consciousness. We begin to ascend. Now, there is a very specific work that needs to happen because the rescue of humanity is not a solo act. It's a collective rescue. I have been training for the past 9 to 10 years, a small group of people around me in New York, in the New York area, tri-state area. It's just not just New York, because I also video conference my classes, all my classes. So there are people in other grids in other places around the world that I'm training as well. So the idea is that I'm training them to learn how the mechanics and in the manner in which we can actually achieve this elevation. Let me explain what we're doing in the context of a celebration that we are doing called Wesak on May 20th in New York City. The following weekend, that's a Sunday, the following weekend, Friday, May 25th, 26th, and 27th in the Catskill Mountain. Wesak is actually a valley in Tibet. It's a part of the Mount Chehalis Mountains, and it is actually the geometric center of the crown chakra of the planet. Now, this center, every year at the full moon in Taurus, light cascade from God, this kind of ease and flow that I'm feeling right now, and drops into that geometric center, giving new dispensation from God, the spiritual hierarchy, and the spiritual governance on the planet to release new ease and new flow to allow humanity to continue to evolve at a more accelerated pace. Anywhere in the world where anyone gather in any groups and attune to this frequency, you will receive messages. It is a festival of light, and it is the higher spiritual festival of the year. I have been holding Wesak in the Catskill Mountain. This year will be our 10th year anniversary since 2008. And what we're doing this year is very special because we've been, for 9 to 10 years, I've been training the small group of people to learn, like me, to hold this energy in permanence. So I'm trying to help them to ascend, to elevate. And I've said this before, ascension is not a rise, it's not a climb. It's actually the exact reverse. It's a surrender, it's a letting go. So what I've been teaching them is how to let go of the false belief, the blind spots, and the false identities. And as they surrender and let go, they suddenly become more than they thought themselves to be. They expand to become their God self. They begin to remember who they really are, right? So at this Wesak celebration, 12 of us will stand in that elevated space around a fire that we're going to be creating to represent the celestial axis around which the entire universe rotates. And we're going to stand around it, and we're going to allow this elevate or collective energy to gather together. My light will be added to their light, and collectively, we're going to release into the heavens and ask God to let light shine. Let there be light. And let the light drop into that geometric center, into that location, and release a frequency and a vibration that the earth has not felt in a very long time. And at that point, once this energy will cascade in ground, we've been preparing this, by the way, by doing a spiritual exercise for a year now. All of us who are doing this for a year in a row. So it requires discipline. This is what I'm saying, is that 7 billion people can't do this because they don't have that tenacity and discipline. And as this energy cascades down and drops into the ground, everyone on the planet will feel it shift. Now, it's not the only shift that needs to happen. That shift has to do specifically with the chakra that is close to New York City. We will create a safe zone of 777 miles wide. It will go all the way down to Washington, Ohio, Canada, all the tri-state area, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Jersey, New York. It will take all of that. What does that mean? Does it mean that everyone in that area ascend? No. What it means is that instead of them just hearing or feeling, the broadcast of survival. They will receive the ease that I'm feeling right now, this sense of abundance and overwhelming hope, a frequency of freedom and liberation. Now they can choose to ignore it. Again, everybody has free choice. A lot of people will remember that broadcast because they have not heard it in a very, very long time, for several centuries. And it will allow them now to make a choice. Do I want to remain in that yucky space, or do I want this flow and this ease that I'm feeling? And how do I seek it? So that's what we're proposing to do. So the Wesak celebration that we're doing is open to the public. You're all invited. I will leave the link below to the website with all of the pertinent information. And we hold it every year at the full moon in Taurus. This is the 10th year anniversary. And that work, once we have achieved created this opening in that armor of fear, survival, and lack that exists around the earth, other places, other chakras, because the earth has 156 chakras, at other locations, 155 chakras, other people like me will begin to feel. It's like when the 4-minute mile was actually broken, the record was first broken. No one thought it was possible to do. The moment it was broken, the next week, 2 other people broke the record as well, whereas before no one could do it. So we're going to be the first to actually create this. And then beyond that point, I personally know that others will, in other chakra around the earth, will very quickly achieve similar elevation and similar ease. Now, when the people north of us in Canada will have done the same thing, we will begin to have an overlap, center to center. And the people to the north, the people to the south, the people to the east. So over a time period, these rings of 777 mile wide will overlap each other, and the entire planet will become the living and the breathing flower of life. And at that very moment, when we're all in these 156 a column of light will descend into the core of the earth. The prana seed of the planet will shut down and will reignite. Basically, computer upgrade. And at that very moment, the new earth will be here, once the upgrade is accomplished. This is what we signed up for. Again, we the wayshowers are going to be the first herald. We are the first people who will hold this energy, because we have to ground it into our physicality. This is why I'm guiding, I'm training, I'm doing the Wisdom Council, links for which I will leave also below. I'm doing the Wisdom Council on Facebook to train people around the world to actually do this as well. Because what's the use of me just doing it in New York if the rest of the world doesn't know how to do it? I'll share with you everything that I know. It's free. I'm not asking for anything. Okay? And as I do this, you will be able to do the same in your own earth chakra location and geographic location. And when the whole 156 point of light will have been created, we collectively will begin to see a real shift. All that is needed for this to happen, it's 144,000 volunteers. Not even 10% of the earth population. 144,000. Right now on Facebook, I train 12 in New York. On Facebook, I'm seeking right now 144 people to do this. I'm a little bit over that number, but many people are not really studying or following. I'm going to allow about 300 and change to join in, at which point I will make the group a secret and I will pour in the information. I want people who really feel in their core that this is their mission and their life purpose. If you're awake and you're listening to me and this resonates with you, contact us on the Wisdom Council. I will be happy to share with you everything that I know. No holds barred. I will give you everything that I know. Because when you ascend and your collective ascends and you create this grid, God wins. Humanity will have a chance. I thank you for listening to me. If this resonates with you, please share. Don't forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel. You have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you next week. Remember, I post a video once a week. Blessings to you.